Hello everyone. Halo, selamat siang teman-teman semuanya. Di depan kita udah ada CEO dan BD dari Credefi nih teman-teman. Jadi ada Mr. Ivo, CEO, dan Mr. Alexander sebagai BD dan Strategic Partnership. Nih kita pengen denger projectnya nih berbicara tentang apa nih teman-teman ya. Coba kita sapa dulu teman-teman. Halo Mr. Ivo and Mr. Alexander, how are you?
Hi, great, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Nice to meet
Hi,
you.
Michael.
Hi, Mr.
It's very good to be
Alexander.
here. It's a
So,
pleasure. It's a very exciting day for us. We just made a very big announcement regarding our centralized exchange listing. So we're going to be more than happy and very excited to share more about Credefi with the great community that you guys are having over there.
okay, very good. Now, why not we are starting Q&A so our audience can know more about your project. And fortunately, we have now the CEO of Credefi will answering all questions from you guys. So let's go. Would you like to explain briefly what is Credefi project about?
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So, in a nutshell, Clarify is a first kind of a hybrid between a fintech solution and a DeFi protocol, which is connecting crypto lenders with small and medium enterprise borrowers from the real economy. Our platform is designed in such a way that we allow for decentralized and secured lending to portfolio of businesses, but also to individual projects going forward, while at the same time we're protecting the lenders coming to the platform, and we provide them a fixed APY to the funds they're going to be lending to the borrowers. And with Credefi, we're resolving certain major issues that we see both in the DeFi space, but also in the traditional finance world. When it comes to DeFi, I think we all can agree that eventually the DeFi yields can be rather inconsistent, they can be fragile, and eventually they'll evaporate in bear market conditions. And what we saw during the DeFi winter last year, and after the market nuked in May this year, is a very strong proof of that. So eventually we came to our conclusion that the borrowers in the DeFi space can be very speculative, and eventually they cannot satisfy the lending supply in the space. On the other hand, we see that in the traditional finance space, there are lots of small and medium enterprises that cannot get access to decent funding from traditional banks. Usually the SMEs will be rejected for such kind of loans, or even if they receive it, it would come at the cost of very high interest rates and over collateralization requirements. So we were observing the market very closely, and we noticed that nowadays there are alternative lending platforms such as peer-to-peer lending and crowdfunding, which are billion-dollar industries in the US and the European Union alike. So the reason why we have started developing Credefi is that we believe that SMEs, small and medium enterprises, need to have consistent lenders, and at the same time, DeFi needs to have consistent borrowers. So with Credefi, we are bringing these two together so they can stabilize each others and then can have a symbiotic relationship. So just to give you an example, when crypto markets go south and the DeFi yields drop to low single-digit numbers, with Credefi, our lenders and liquidity providers will have a shelter for stablecoin, which is gonna allow APYs on those in the range of 10% and above.
Well, it's a really good idea. I mean, helping small, medium enterprises, not just big whales. And yeah, the concept is really good. But actually, we have a concern about the, security layer for the issues like loans on the platform. Lending and borrowing have some issues like hacking and many others. Could you please explain to us that the coding is already trusted and audited already? Thank you.
Sure. You shouldn't worry about, or you shouldn't have any concerns about the protocol security, as our team of developers has a vast experience in the field, and it has been working with some of the leading protocols and blockchains as Aave and Avalanche, so as well as traditional tech companies such as Booking.com. We have also underwent a very successful audit by a leading security firm in the space, Armor Labs. And as to the security of the loans themselves, Credefi's main priority is to ensure that the lenders and the LP funds are safe with the SMEs and which we have lent to, and they're going to be repaying their obligations. So thus we have created and developed a three-layer protection mechanism for maximum security. So in our three-layer protection mechanism, we have our in-house credit scoring models, which are backed by Experian, of the big three credit reporting agencies that has a strategic partnership with Credefi. And the aim of these in-house credit scoring models is to give us a really good predictability of whether a certain borrower has the ability to repay the loan or not. Then the second layer of our security mechanism is crypto and real-world assets as collateral, which means that we're also going to be accepting not only crypto assets, but assets such as mortgages, pledges on receivables, and other real-world assets which an SME might have. And the third layer of our security is our security model, or as we call it, Model X, which is serving as a buffer in the time frame required to liquidate the real-world assets. So in case somebody enters into a default and we need to liquidate their real-world collateral, this is where Module X kicks in order to cover the gap between the liquidation and the actual recuperation of the funds.
Well, thank you so much for answering the question. So yeah, I have more to question. If you are guys willing to answer, we like to know more. And so yeah, we go to the next question. How do you see lending and borrowing? The past year it's so hype since the smart contract of Ethereum, but this we entering the era where is in crypto, NFTs and GameFi for now like it's very hype. What do you see? What do you see about the lending and borrowing nowadays?
Absolutely, Michael. That's a very good question because we finalized our race about month and a half ago. And throughout our journey, we saw that many VCs and investors are actually right now hyped about GameFi and NFT projects. But in fairness, we don't see this kind of protocols as our competition. Actually, on the contrary, we see them as a trend that is actually helping the crypto space to grow and to receive additional exposure, which eventually can only help the blockchain community and industry in general. So as part of our thesis, we have considered eventually partnering up with certain GameFi projects and NFT ones. And we have been considering various product spin-offs, like for instance, accepting NFTs as collateral eventually, providing gamers the option to convert their GameFi earnings into stable coins, and by doing so, allocating them to our platform so they can have sustainable and high yields with us. We have been considering also developing our protocol to the point where we're also going to be having NFTs, which are going to be related to certain financial products. But this is still all in the making. And at the end of the day, we should not forget that the main purpose of having the NFT booms is very similar to what we saw last year with the introduction of stable coins. And at the end of the day, NFTs are not simple JPEGs or art. They are something unique that we can use for KYC purposes, for validation purposes, for issuing financial instruments, as I mentioned. So they're part of the ecosystem that eventually we're gonna be taking as part of the Credefi journey. Obviously, with the initial start of the protocol, we're focusing on our bread and butter, which is purely lending and borrowing. But all these items, GameFi and NFT is something that obviously we cannot ignore, and we're not ignoring. and eventually we're going to be integrating into our protocol. But we have done our IDO launch on Starter in order to take in part of the Cardano narrative. Next year, we're going to be integrating with Solana. We're doing a BSC bridge as part of our launch because one of the DEXs we're going to be offering Credefi. This is our native token, is going to be PancakeSwap. So, we are not ignoring none of the blockchains. Exactly on the contrary, we're welcoming all of them, because at the end of the day, the system has to work in such a way that people can use their preferred blockchain in a permissionless way. And this is something that we are definitely trying to achieve with Credefi here.
Very great.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Michael.
Yeah, we're seeing this too as opportunities. So yeah, people need to know about this. This is really important. So crypto is not only NFTs and not stop only there. We need to explore more fundamentally. So above all, how can Credefi really help small medium enterprises to grow apart from the conventional borrowing? How the crypto like Credefi can increase the trust in lending and borrowing?
Yeah, our long-term vision for Credefi is actually to become a blockchain gateway for SMEs. So in order to do that, of course, we need to start with the most conventional and much needed, verticals for SMEs, which is namely access to flexible and affordable funding, which DeFi can introduce. Going forward, our product lines will be expanded, and we will include multiple other add-ons, including blockchain solutions that our current and future partners are developing, and data collection, oracles, data validation, and so on and so forth.
Do you have any special message you would like to convey to crypto enthusiasts? I mean, the viewers who are watching the YouTube video right now before adopting Credefi.
Yeah, Ivo said our long-term vision here is to be the blockchain gateway for SMEs, because providing them funding from the DeFi space is just scratching the surface of all the great potential that we can develop with a protocol like Credefi. With the borrowing and lending, like Ivo mentioned, we're just tapping into the most urgent need of SMEs, which is namely have access to decent funding at acceptable terms and conditions. But going forward, our long-term strategy is to develop that platform where SMEs will be able to gain full access to the endless potential that the blockchain technologies are offering. For instance, one of the partners we're working with, and we're going to be announcing the partnership with them in the coming days, they are developing software as a solution. They are developing decentralized cloud storage. They're developing various AI solutions that can be adopted by SMEs at very competitive rates. Because nowadays, the solutions that are being offered by some of the big companies like SAP and such, they're limited to the big corporations, simply because in order to integrate such an infrastructure, it costs lots of money and time that a small and medium enterprise cannot afford. But with the flexibility of the blockchain technologies and the decentralized approach that we're having here, it is something that SMEs definitely can take advantage of. And when it comes to Credefi and our long-term journey, we have been building this protocol for over a year now. We have just finalized our race, as I mentioned. It is something that we could have finalized pretty fast without too much hassle, but we really wanted to pick up our advisors and partners in such a way that all of them are supporting the long-term vision of the protocol. So now we are starting our operations in Europe when it comes to the borrower sides. On the lender sides, we're going to be accepting from all different jurisdictions, except the usually banned ones. But going forward, we have developed our cap table in such a way that our expansion to Asia, to Africa, is going to be just behind the corner.
Okay, thank you so much. So after talking with you, just like 5 or 10 minutes, we really understanding fundamentally Credefi is a very good project, and this is not like the other dump and pump crypto, but this project is fundamentally ready to enter the market and have a real functionality. And yeah, thank you so much for the all question. If we want to ask you about the Credefi, can you answer? Maybe someone in the comment section after this video want to ask something, maybe Mr. Alexander and Mr. Evo. Do you
Yes,
mind if to
absolutely.
answer?
We're
Well,
going to be more
thank
than
you.
happy to answer any other questions that you guys have.
Of
Thank
course.
you. So, I will recommend to my viewers that if they want to know about the Credefi, just go directly to the Telegram groups. There will be an admin and also the other adopters. You can have a chat with them, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, thank you so much for the meeting today. Jadi teman-teman, kita udah dengar nih langsung dari Mr. Ivo dan Mr. Alexander tentang Projek Credefi ya teman-teman ya. Jadi sangat friendly terhadap perusahaan-perusahaan kecil yang ingin melakukan pinjam meminjam ya, lending and borrowing ya di crypto space ya. Dan itu tidak terbatas pada project-project biasa, tapi pada project-project GameFi ya lainnya, dan tentunya project-project NFT. Dan kalian bisa coba mampir ke komunitasnya, dan kalian juga bisa tanya-tanya ya di kolom komentar YouTube. Nanti saya kumpulin ya dan kasih pertanyaan ke Mr. Alexander dan Mr. Ivo. So once again, Mr. Ivo and Mr. Alexander, thank you for today. So really hope to see you again in another occasion.
Perfect. Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael. Really appreciate it.
Okay, see you. Bye bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
Okay.